of course, at 10 a.m., it'll be time for the general open banter, the Friday conversation. I'm just open banter. Of course, at 10 going to Abuja with there's people in Abuja. I mean, is that they think that we'll be able to on board. Or my co-host, I'm able to this morning. Udwa Dani is the Messier, right? And he also said, did I say Soko community? Isoko Nation in Delta State, Nigeria, who would say, Emamuria. Oh, right. I love the Baggies would say Agife, and of course, all the way to Benue tribe would say Ndeve, and my good in-laws from the Unton country still in Benue State would say Ite. Well, of course, the average man on the street will say a good morning, welcome on board. It feels really good to be in the studios this Friday morning, homes with your umbrellas, and please put on clothes that would actually keep you warm. Directing this to the ladies who love to slay. That being said, let's quickly take a look at things up to this Friday morning. Right, today, August 8, 2025. Now, the West African Senior School Certificate Examination results for school candidates due to the discovery of technical issues in the results release process. Now, the council made this known in a statement by the acting head of public affairs, Moyoshola Adeshina, on X right now to see beginning to compare West Examination School Admissions and Matriculation Board, because I mean the issue on ground kind of related. And from that one, the Minister of Aviation and Space Development first came on Thursday directed the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority to place King Wasiu Ayinde Marshal, aka one, on a no-fly list, and the minister also directed the FT to immediately notify both domestic and international airlines of the directive. Add that anyone who flouts the directive, you risk with a license. Moving on, the federal government on Thursday dismissed 15 people, the Nigeria Correctional Service, and demoted 59 others for various acts of misconduct and indiscipline. This was disclosed by the Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire, and Immigration Services Board under the Ministry of Interior, which reviewed 224 disciplinary cases involving correctional officers across the country. I guess I should ring the bell to that because, I mean, we are just all out to ensure that we fight the war against indiscipline in Nigeria. So one would say that is a step in the right direction. Away from that, 2 persons have been unfortunately killed and 3 others abducted by armed men in Gamu village near Babanla, Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State. Now, the attack, it was gathered, occurred when the victims who were traveling from Lagos to Babanla suffered a flat tire near the community. Well, may their souls rest in peace. A senior special reporter to Kano State Governor Abba Kabiru Yusuf at the Ministry of History and Culture, Sadiq Gentle, has died from injuries sustained during a violent attack by suspected hoodlums. Now, Gentle passed away on Thursday morning at the Murtala Mohammed Specialist Hospital, and this is actually coming days after the gruesome, machete attack at his residence. Well, may he so rest in peace as well. Amen. Now, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, yesterday warned that heavy flooding will hit 198 local government areas in 31 states and the Federal Capital Territory, that's the FCT, from August 7, which was yesterday, to 21 of 2025. And according to a statement by the agency, affected states include Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Cross River, Delta, Ebonyi, Edo, FC Gombe, Imo, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kebbi, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Plateau, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, Yobe, and Zamfara State. A former National Treasurer of Labour Party, Oluchi Okpara, yesterday debunked the allegation that the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, tampered with party funds during his 2023 presidential campaign. Now, Okpara said that Obi personally financed his activities and even contributed financially to the party. Well, it appears there is no end in sight to the crisis rocking the Labour Party at this point in time, and that has somewhat impacted, the candidate of the Labour Party, for the Edo State by-election. I mean, I had a conversation with him as yesterday to really know how well he's coping with the latest development, because we understand that INEC had to exclude, Labour Party among some other political parties from the list of, political parties that will be partaking in, the by-elections, built for next week. It's really, really unfortunate, one would say. All right. And moving on now, operatives of the Lagos Zonal Directorate 2 of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that's the EFCC, have actually apprehended 11 suspected internet fraudsters in Lagos. Now, EFCC confirmed this in a post shared on its X handle on Thursday, and the commission stated that the suspects were apprehended on Thursday in the Lekki area of the state. Well, the ninth thing that would like you to know this morning, dear listeners, is the fact that a 47-year-old Chinese national, Luo Mao, has been confirmed dead after he suddenly slumped while on duty at a ceramics company in the Ajaokuta area of Kogi State. The State Police Public Relations Officer, William Aya, confirmed this to newsmen on Thursday. Well, may his soul rest in peace. Well, the last but not the least would be the fact that Rivers State Police Command said its operatives smashed a sophisticated interstate car snatching syndicate with a foreign network, arrested 12 suspects, and recovered 22 vehicles in the process. The police said among the suspects was a dismissed police officer who had 11 cars as of the time of his arrest, while the 3 ex-convicts who were hired into the illicit deal were also arrested by the operatives. Well, that's a step in the right direction as well. All right, and now time check. It's already 17 minutes gone past the hour of 7 on the AM side. I've been rightly, informed that the show this morning, the newspaper review segment of the show this morning, is going to be an abridged show. So around 7:45, we should be wrapping things up because we're expecting some clients in the studios this morning. So very, very quickly, let us take a look at the front pages of Nigerian newspapers to see what these national dailies are reporting this beautiful Friday morning. All right, I've got the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, I've got the Vanguard, I've got the Punch, I've got the Nation newspaper, and also the Daily Trust newspaper to look at this morning. Right, starting off with the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. The big news story right there leads with flooding as its kicker. Lagos, Ogun, Delta, Kogi, 11 others at high risk. Right underneath it says 198 local government areas may be flooded. You find details of that story on page 12 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. Federal government to disburse 300,000 naira to 21,000 farmers. Disburses 493 billion naira to 5 million households. Tinubu lifts ban on NSIPA's frozen account. All right, that's on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Mounting deficit raised concern over bank takeover as Ikeja Electricity reports 25 billion naira pre-tax loss. That's on page 6. And on page 4, 2027 is the kicker. Worries over APC congresses. Defecting governors hard hit. And the second writer says why Tinubu picked Yelwada. That's on page 4. Okay, page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. 155 associations seek INEC's recognition as parties. Right underneath it says continuous voter registration to begin August 18 in 811 centers. Details on page 5. And then talking about health matters, only 1 in 3 babies exclusively breastfed in Nigeria. Only 1 in 3 babies exclusively breastfed in Nigeria. This statement is credited to the UNICEF. And I know, of course, that the breastfeeding week has already started. And it's a wake up call to nursing mothers, especially the new generation mothers that we have, who would say, oh, no, I don't want to breastfeed my children because I don't want to have, the reasons are really, frivolous, if you ask me. But right now, it's really, really disturbing. And I love the fact that conversations are being, had, just to reorient mothers and also let people know the dangers associated with you not breastfeeding your child. All right, still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, airport saga is the kicker. The Aviation Authority petitions AGF, IGP to investigate and also prosecute Wasiu Ayinde, aka Kwam1. Two riders underneath that story. The first one says federal government bans him from flying for 6 months. Aviation workers to down tools August 11 over salary dispute. You'll find details on pages 6 and 7 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, and I'll leave it there very quickly for the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Now let's take a look at the Vanguard. Heavy floods to hit 198 local government areas in 31 states. Federal government warns. This has 4 riders, more than 832 communities at risk. Over 100 major transportation routes face possible disruptions. Lagos government mulls humanitarian intervention in affected communities. And the last rider says Rhodes Vivo slams government over victims' eviction order. All right, all of that you'll find on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Now, this is one warning that, one must take very seriously. All right, Nigeria may break up before 2027 if... That's quite scary, if you ask me. Nigeria may break up before 2027 if. Now, all we can do at this point in time is to avoid the if. But this is coming from Wondo. You find details on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Telkom's blackout looms as base station operators, diesel suppliers battle. Telkom's blackout looms as base station operators and diesel suppliers battle. That's on page 41. 2027 is a kicker. North not swayed by one-term pledge. This is coming from the Arewa Consultative Forum. That's the ACF. You find details on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. FX forward contract is the kicker. CBN reviews legal actions against defaulters. That's on page 19. And WAEC apologizes over technical glitches in this year's WAEC results. That's on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. I was removed as governor for refusing to make Uba my deputy. This is coming from Ngige. That's on page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And we have this lone sport story right there, but you find details on page 44. It says Super Falcons maintain position on FIFA World Ranking, remain number 1 in Africa. All right, I'm sure that Vicky Vic would chew on that, at the top of the hour, but I'll leave it there for the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Grab a copy to get details, all right? The Punch newspaper is up next. Bleached grades is the kicker. WAEC in crisis over result errors. Candidates urged to recheck new results after 48 hours. Students protest. Parents slam CBT plans. All right, that's on page 38 of the Punch newspaper this morning. You recall very clearly that some months ago we were made to understand that some of the students even had to sit for certain, subjects late in the night, and that actually sparked some sort of controversy at the time. Could that really be the reason why the results are kind of poor this time around? But anyways, WAEC has actually apologized, and they have actually blamed that on bleached or some technicalities, and students have actually been advised to recheck the new results after 48 hours. Let's see the outcome anyway. All right, and all right, Kenya plane crash kills 6 after Ghana tragedy. sad one right there, from Ghana to Kenya. That's on page 7. Correctional Service sacks 15 officers, demotes 59 in major sweep. That's on page 12. And moving on to page 18, Ibadan market short as late Olubadan is buried. Rivers elders ask Tinubu to halt local government poll and reinstate Fubara. That's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. 29 governors spend 80 billion naira on travels in 6 months. 29 governors spend 80 billion naira on travels in 6 months. You find details on page 27 of the Punch newspaper this morning. 2027 is the kicker. ADC caught in crossfire as Atiku Obi rivalry escalates. Obi camp accuses ADC of marginalization. Party vows level playing field. All right, that's on page 2 this morning. And the Aviation Authority moves to prosecute Kwam 1 after no-fly order. That's on page 28 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Now, talking about this particular big news story on the front page of the Punch newspaper, talking about the glitched grades and the WAEC, being in crisis over result errors. Now, there's a breakdown to that effect as to the 7 key issues that actually, kind of like summarizes the whole situation that WAEC is actually faced with at this point in time. From serialization of objective test papers to frequent power outages to delays in exam start times. I mean, I already, spoke to that. Students arriving as early as 6 a.m., inadequate exam oversight, poor exam conditions, for example, flooded venues, and also student over-reliance on digital tools. All of that, by the way, you'll find on page 38 of the Punch newspaper. And that is going to be about the size of the headlines I will be taking from the Punch newspaper. The last, now we have the Nation newspaper. It's not actually the last. Federal government disburses 493 billion naira to 5 million households. Embargo on NSIPA account lifted. Details on the front page. It continues right on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. And this one here, Kwam 1 banned from air travels. NCAA asks federal government, or asks AGF, IG to prosecute Wasiu. Details on the front page. It continues also on page 3. EFCC, police in tussle over suspect. Details on page 5. Akume is the kicker. Beware of job scammers. That's on page 4. And stakeholders fought receivership claims on Egbin Ikeja Electric. All right. And this one here says equity investors gained 479 billion naira in one day. NGX hails development. That's on page 7. GMO foods safe. NAFDAC DG declares. That is genetically modified organisms, foods, they are safe. This is what NAFDAC is saying, because I know there has been some sort of controversy around the GMO foods in Nigeria, whether it's actually safe for consumption or not. But the NAFDAC Director General has actually come out to say that, oh no, these foods are actually safe for consumption. And you find details of our story on page 4. Still on page 4, economic crisis exaggerated, says presidential aide. Economic crisis exaggerated, says presidential aide. That's on page 4. WAEC is the kicker. SSC results being reviewed over technical glitches. That's on page 2, and I'll leave it there this morning for the Nation newspaper. Do want to grab a copy to get concrete details. The last but not the least would be the Daily Trust newspaper, and the big news story right down the front page says protest in Zamfara over renewed bandits attacks. Protest in Zamfara over renewed bandits attacks. You find details on the front page. It continues right on pages 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Students, parents, educationists, flay WAEC results review. That's on page 6. NACON pegs 2026 Hajj fare for 8.5 million naira. You find that one on page 22. Kwam warns a journey to no-fly list. That's on page 31. And moving on to page 13, 2027 is the kicker. North not swayed by one-term promise. ACF spokesman, that is the Arewa Consultative Forum spokesman talking there. Federal government puts 32 states, 832 communities on flood alert. That's on page 37. And then food program suspension is the kicker. Government declares 575,000 vulnerable. That's on page 9. Hunger in Nigeria. Presidency disagrees with Daily Trust editorial. Hunger in Nigeria. Presidency disagrees with Daily Trust editorial. All right, that's on page 8, and that's just going to be about the size of the headlines I will be taking across Nigerian newspapers this morning. As always, we encourage you to grab a copy of any of these national dailies so you can get concrete details of the reviewed headlines. Not to forget, the fact that there are good editorials, good columns across these national dailies that you might want to take a look at. Great news features. You're going to have a good read when you take a look at all of these. They're actually across the Nigerian newspapers. So take a look at them, read, and also I'm sure that the opinions shared would actually help to shape your thought patterns, at the end of the day. Well, we'll go pay some bills. When we come back, the studio lines will be open for you to call in to share your 2 cents as to what these blazing headlines this morning. But you can already start sending voice notes and messages because we're working with time this morning. I'll quickly hand down the studio lines: 09073530044 or 09087668888. The WhatsApp portal number is 090970544 and 50. We'll be back after this quick timeout. Do join us again.
Abuja, you're in luck. It's the upgrade promo from my Abuja Home Limited. For their Broadwater estate and plots in Gwagwalada, get 250 square meter for just 700k when you make an outright payment. That's a whopping 81% discount, or go premium with 500 square meters for only 1 million naira. That's 80% of the original price of 5 million naira. With our authentic FCT land document, you have no issues at all. We have a flexible payment plan for up to 12 months for your convenience. Get your land in Broadwater Estate, Paiko, Gwagwalada now, with green environment, accessible roads, power supply, guaranteed security, and lots more. Call or WhatsApp my Abuja Home on 0808 883 7426, 0808 883 7426, or 0808 272 3824, 0808 272 3824. Hurry now, promo ends soon. These opportunities also open to military personnel. My Abuja Home Limited. Affordable. Live the life.
For advert placement and program sponsorship on Eagles 102.3 FM, please call 080-5919-8658. That is 080-5919-8658 or 081-5791-7278. Again, 081-5791-7278.
Please listen to this announcement. A prestigious spa and salon needs the following: a therapist, a nail technician, and a hair stylist. Interested applicants should send their CV via WhatsApp to 081 579 17278. That is 081 579 17278. Thank you.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
I suppose it was inevitable. Eagles 102.3.
All right, we are back. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is the newspaper review live on Eagles FM 102.3 Abuja. And at this juncture, our studio lines are already opened. You can call in now to share your 2 cents. Please, when you call in, stick to the headlines making the rounds this morning. No use of vulgar or obscene language. And do not forget to turn down the volume of your radio set. Remember that if you must lay claims, ensure that those claims can, be fact-checked or even substantiated. All right, that being said, let's take this one. Hello, good morning to you. Okay, that's a miss. Please do where to call back and let's hear from you what you make of the headlines making the rounds this morning. Hello and good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Moses. Good to have you.
It's Moses from Suleja.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome on board.
I greeting to my brother Zion Prince.
Thank you very much.
Most of I'm not hearing from him again. And Usman Baura. Right. These are prominent people who speak on this platform. I don't know what is wrong with them. I think I wish it's well.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't hear you well. You said 28 billion naira spent on traveling alone by 19 state governors.
Right.
Is it per month?
Well, the much reason why you need to find out the details.
You see how this national fund is going to some certain individual that make ordinary Nigerians to suffer. 28 billion naira on traveling. Traveling to where?
It's actually 80 billion naira.
My goodness.
In 6 months, by the way.
In 6 months.
Right.
Just for traveling.
Yep.
Oh my friend. You know that this money alone is enough to settle some of the cases that many innocent or ordinary Nigerians are facing. Well, we have been crying, cut down some costs that, this nation, who tell you say money no dey Nigeria? Oh my friend. Money dey o. It's just mismanagement. The Lord will help us.
Amen.
Then protest again in Zamfara over an attack upon attack. Well, the issue of this Zamfara so-called is in fact, it's also sad. I heard that this man, Bello Tuji Bello, negotiation was on and he released some people.
Right.
Even some arms were released by him. So does it mean that Tuji Bello is in this country called Nigeria and cannot be fished out? No. My friend.
Right.
Happy weekend. Oh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Moses, for your contribution this morning. Hello and good morning to you. Hello. Good morning. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where you're
Good
calling
morning,
from?
my friend. This Dr. Prince Hike on the line.
All right. From where?
God bless you. A happy new month, my dear.
Thank you very much. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm just calling from Karima.
All right. Please go ahead.
I'm saddened. I'm saddened because the way we are spending money, especially our leaders, is grossly unacceptable. 2 billion naira for a governor to spend, in 6 months. Why people are dying because of hunger? Why people are selling their mattresses and also, UKs of news. Hi, who have done this thing to my great country known as Nigeria, good people, great people, giant of Africa, the most not the seat, actors not the seat, actors the seat, political, zone in this country. Nigeria would have been a nation of great advancement. This is they can cut it down so that Nigeria is glory. Look at Nigeria. They have money, but how to judiciously spend it is trouble. Of course, the same foundation being laid out on the document. What are you going to get? Is corruption is was spending Wednesday.
All right, Dr. Prince Ike, I'm afraid I have to let you go now because time.
Okay,
Are you? Yes, me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Where you're in
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The way we are is not the way it's passing. Recently, the First Lady of the Republic of Nigeria donated 1 billion. Was that money for Benue State or maybe the PDP? And in front of hundreds that these people don't we send the money 80 billion to travel. Now, what has their journey?
Calls because of time.
The money. Yeah, did you return the money back to the Labour Party's coffers? What did you do with the money? All those costs. Action. This man cannot solve the problem, but he wants to solve the laptop country, politician. Government needs such amount in 2 years. I have been saying this that the governors are and the first justice because the government court in Nigeria that sitting was saying they are not just single project. What genuine and
Abdantani Aji, Yunus Nigerians who want. In conclusion, it is sad for the national made by board again the recently released results. It is also necessary for the board to take correction in order to avoid future. Thanks, Anthony Ibrahim Aji and Sami Kuja says. Morning to you, Governor. Wasting taxpayers' money on traveling alone while the masses are dying of hunger, hardship, and insecurity. Kai, when can we get good leaders in this country? Have a great and safe day. Thank you very much. You to have a great and safe day. Comrade Ula Basi from Buhari says, good morning, Lady Omoefe. Happy weekend. Thank you very much. It says, yes, the northern states may not, be swayed by a 4-year tenure in office promised by Peter Obi if elected the president of the country in 2027 elections. This is because the north has gotten accustomed to the usual wasting of 8 years tenure of the, past leaders, which all along has nothing on ground tangible to show for it. Of course, most of